At long last, I have built my own developer portfolio website. I'm not talking about the GitHub profile page from last video or the terminal website I built earlier this year, but a custom website that's actually easy to use. Type help for commands. Okay, so we have a list of commands. Yeah, not like that. An intuitive minimal design. I've really been liking the minimal vibe lately. I don't know why, but an intuitive minimal design that gives prospective clients a quick look at me and my work as a developer because I want them to shower me with money, so I'll build something similar for them. The tools I use for this project include Vite, a rapid development build tool for modern web projects that I really just use as an improved replacement to create React app. I'll let y'all argue amongst yourselves whether or not you think it's an improvement. I like it better. That's used to effectively build the boilerplate in structure, alongside things like pre-bundling, hot module replacement, and a handful of other features. React as our JavaScript library for building user interfaces. JavaScript as our primary programming language because I've been really trying to improve my JavaScript skills this year, alongside Tailwind, because what in the hell is CSS? Seriously though, if I could just stick to my JSX files, I'll be a happy man. With this website being hosted on Hostinger via GitHub integration for continuous integration and deployment. Hostinger is a sponsor of today's video and we'll be setting it up at the end of the video, but I wanted to mention they're giving you a special deal that is all laid out in the description, which is actually their Black Friday deal that is available now. Premium shared hosting for only $249 per month plus a free domain with a 4-year plan, alongside unlimited free SSL, free email, and 100 websites to expand your portfolio. And I was able to get you an exclusive 10% discount on top of that deal. Just follow the details in the description. But this video is not to go into full detail about every aspect of the development process for this project, no. But more of an entertaining showcase to teach you a little bit about portfolios, give you inspiration, and really just give you an overall idea of how something like this is built. Next video will be a full-on tutorial on teaching you how to build this exact project yourself. So if that sounds interesting to you, subscribe, hit the bell so you get notified. So what is the most important aspect of a portfolio? To show what you have to offer as a developer, not just your skills. What do you build? And how will it benefit the client? Like building a developer portfolio and hosting it on a platform like Hostinger to showcase it to your audience in video format. Although I will admit that's a slightly niche angle for developers, so for you maybe it's building websites with higher conversion rates. That's what you want to convey in a portfolio website, as well as establishing trust. I got that figured out for my portfolio, so now it's time for me to disappear in my office like a hermit and focus on the fun stuff, the code. Well, the design, then the code. I knew I wanted everything on a single page with a quick look into who I am and what I offer, a list of about 3 projects to serve as case studies, which are effectively success stories showcasing what I built and what it did for the client, giving more information via some sort of sidebar or modal. I'll then have a timeline laying out a bit of my experience like you'd see in a traditional resume, and a newsletter at the bottom because I want to start a newsletter that keeps you up to date with the behind the scenes of my coding and business endeavors as a solo dev and content creator. And because of my terminal website, I included an email command and explicitly told you not to email me. Evidently, y'all don't listen. I got more emails than I could count, so thanks. But because a contact form will be more applicable to y'all, and I'm going to be creating a tutorial video on how y'all can build it yourself, I decided to go ahead and bite the bullet, forego the whole newsletter thing for the time being, at least for this project, and include a contact form via Gitform. You're welcome. Don't email me. Now, the code. Intro.jsx, portfolio.jsx, timeline.jsx, contact.jsx, and footer.jsx. And get things placed in app.jsx because I'm a visual topic guy. I need it all there first. The intro contains my name, large, my occupation in this context, slightly smaller, then my details sharing a bit about what I do, how I do it, and what I have to offer, like we discussed prior. But wait, let's take a slightly closer look. React, Tailwind, info, new line. As you can see, no CSS files to be seen, just the way I like it. Kevin Powell, I'm sorry. Anyway, I share that with you so you have a better understanding of what each library and framework is doing, which for my use case, these tools help. They're not better, they're not worse, they're just different. That's how I see it. Now the portfolio case studies. This and the timeline portion are much more interesting than the intro, I promise. But do you see why? Take a second. What if their similarities to each other make them different from the intro? Well, redundancy. You could come through here and create one of these, then copy paste the same code 3 times containing their unique information, and it would work. But it's not efficient. Instead, we can eliminate the code redundancy by creating a portfolio item. This has that same code in it, but just once. We pass in the information as parameters, call it in our portfolio.jsx file that iterates through the array of objects containing the actual information in this portfolio.js file that will throw in this data directory. Which we had to create the data directory, just to clarify. Now you may be thinking, well, this ain't easier. The other solution was simple, while this one is much more complex. Well, you're right. It is more complex, but it's better code. Now, if I want to change a color or something, I just have to change one and they all change. If I want to add a new project, I just need to do so here and it automatically adds it. Wait a second, this isn't the tutorial, what am I doing? Okay, so the timeline is the same idea. We have a timeline.js file containing an array of my resume information, YouTube content creator, solely indie developer, software engineer, computer science degree, first line of code, with each object containing that title alongside the completion date. So when I finished working that job or completed that degree, the duration of time I did that thing, and details about it. All of roughly the same length, might I add, because it's prettier that way on the website. That information being passed as parameters into timeline item for formatting and iterated through timeline.jsx. I gotta say, I am really happy with how this turned out. The contact form that you should not use is right under that. Nothing crazy, just a form with a get form action, 2 inputs, a text area, and a button. Oh yeah, I've also created a title component to be used whatever section it fits, like timeline and contact. Now I made a design choice to make this all thin, right? Which would mean a double wide portfolio section would fit better, but I just had it in my mind as a triple wide. So what do you think? Double wide and I add a 4th project, or leave it how it is as the triple wide? Well, I guess either way, I should probably include the modal or sidebar that provides more information on each project. Yeah, that would be a good idea. I almost forgot about that part. Let's do a sidebar, but not yet. What I want to do first is host it, so then we can test out the CI/CD via GitHub and Hostinger. We upload the current website how it sits now and push the sidebar up once it's done. Yeah, let's do that. Let's host. And as you already know, we're going to be using Hostinger. Now, we're going to be going into detail, but not as much detail as the tutorial will hold. So let me just go through this. First, we're going to come down to advanced and go to Git because we want to deploy the application directly from a private Git repository. This Git repository, actually, it has all of our code in here already. So we're pointing to that repository, a private repository, as you can see by the format. And our branch is actually going to be a build branch we're going to create. Now it's time to generate SSH key. Obviously, I don't want you to see this, so I'm not going to let you see it, but I am going to copy it. And over in their private portfolio repository, settings, deploy keys, add deploy key, Hostinger, paste. Don't need write access, add key. There we go. Now Hostinger has access to our private GitHub repository, but we're not done. I'm going to set up auto deployment first using my webhook URL, and you can either use this link or just come over here to webhooks. Add webhook, paste the URL, everything else is good. Just make sure just the push event is selected, add webhook. And now this normally would work, but we don't have a build branch. We only have a master branch. That's because we don't want to push this code right here. We want to build this code for production and push that. That's where GitHub Actions comes into play. I'm going to set up a workflow myself, publish.yaml, and paste in this code right here. It's a little script that'll npm install, npm run build, and the assets that builds will be pushed to the build branch, and we want to target the dist folder. Now I can commit that, create publish YAML, that's fine. And if we come over to actions, now we have a workflow in progress, and hopefully it'll work. So right now, since we had a push, that script is now running, building this code, npm install, npm run build, all of that, and it should create a new branch, as you can see right there, build, and yes, it did work. So within that build branch, here we have it, assets, index.html, vite.svg. This is all of the code that we need in order to have the website. So view latest build update. Let's see if it's done it. It has. If it hasn't, just come here and auto deploy it for the first time. So when we come over to the hackershideout.com, well, we have a working website, and that's how you host it. But I almost forgot it's not secure. So back in the dashboard, we go to advanced SSL, and all we have to do is install SSL for that URL. Once this is done, we'll have a secure website like that. And I lied. I'm not doing the sidebar. Please don't hate me. I sat down here ready to code it up, but I just notice everything is redundant or irrelevant. The image is the same, the title is the same, the stack is the same. The only difference was going to be the about to give you a little bit more context on the project, which I think is important. But then the site and the code, well, the AI Nerf gun doesn't have a website, and then 2 of the 3 repositories are private repos, so I can't share that code. And then I was going to do something pretty cool with a GitHub action to pull in the YouTube data for that particular video and display it here. But is that really worth it? I don't know. I even added all of this information in preparation for it. But instead, I'm thinking we take this new information, map it out in our projects, pass it in as a parameter, and then as a link. So if I click on terminal website, it displays the terminal website video. And when I click on the Nerf gun project, it takes me to the Nerf gun video. And then when I click on the developer portfolio, well, it takes me right back here because that video isn't done yet. But again, I think that little about section to give more context is kind of important. I'm thinking of having a hover over that covers the title and the stack, so it's just a little paragraph for the about every time I hover over this. What do you think? I know people normally do it in the image, but I think that would be a pretty cool idea just to do it in that little section right there. I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the description, and if I get to it by the time I create the tutorial, it'll be in there. But now, the showcase. And here it is in all of its minimal glory. The intro, the portfolio, our timeline, contact form, and footer. Oh yeah, the footer. Very complex stuff here. The code just, here it is. With the responsiveness being perfect. And that's all, right? Wrong. We have dark mode. Now that's all. Next video is going to be an in-depth tutorial on how to build this from start to finish. Expect to see that video within the week. Either that video or the video after next. Either way, subscribe if you want to see that. Hit the bell so you get notified. And I guess thumbs up the video. I don't know how much that sways the actual YouTube algorithm, but it makes me feel better at the end of the day, so why not? And until then, bye.